Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about Rutherford's alpha particles scattering experiment. So Rutherford's experiment studied the deflection or scattering of alpha particles, now known as helium nuclei, as they pass through very thin gold foil as detected by a fluorescent screen. Most of the alpha particles passed through the foil, but a small number were deflected at very large angles. So this experiment, you can see that this is very famous experiment. So Rutherford was a great scientist. What he did, he bombarded a thin sheet of gold foil, as you can see here, the thin gold foil, with alpha particles in an evacuated chamber. So a simplified picture of alpha particles is given in your book, has been given in your book. So now, as you can see here in the figure, this is the total setup of his experiment. What is alpha particle? So it is a He2 plus ion. See, helium having 2 electrons. So this 2 electrons, when it loses 2 electrons, it gains 2 plus charge. So this He2 plus ion is a alpha particles. So now let's discuss the conclusions. While performing this experiment, what Rutherford found in his experiment. So he drawn some conclusions from this experiment. So the first thing, as you can see here, first of all, after performing this experiment, some observations he found. So there are 3 observations. First observation is nearly 99.9% alpha particles passed undeviated. Some of the alpha particles were deflected by small angles, and very few, like 1 in 20,000 alpha particle, returns back. Okay, so deflected by large angle, that is 180 degree. Okay, so these observation Rutherford found. Now what conclusions he drawn? What are the following conclusions were drawn from this experiment? Now you see here in this figure what conclusions were drawn from this experiment. So first conclusion is most part of the atom is empty. Okay, the second one, the positive charge resides in a very small space. The positive charge is very heavy, or there is something very heavy in the atom, and that heavy thing is called nucleus. He called that heavy thing is nucleus. It's given in your book also that the central part of an atom is heavy and positively charged. So this heavy positively charged core inside the atom was named as nucleus. So see, He2 plus ion, positive charge. When this ray strikes the nucleus, means in the middle of any atom, you can see there is a nucleus. So if He2 plus ion strikes directly on nucleus, you can see a large deflection takes place, right? So most of the space inside the atom is empty. That is why all the He2 plus particles move straight, undeflected alpha particles, as you can see here. Why this many of the alpha particles are deflected? Because the space inside the atom is empty. So the nucleus is very small as compared to the size of the atom. These are the nucleus, the dots, these dots. The entire mass of an atom is concentrated inside its nucleus. So this is the Rutherford experiment. Now on the basis of this experiment, Rutherford explained his nuclear model. So first is that an atom consists of a positively charged nucleus which is surrounded by electrons moving around it. The nucleus of an atom consists of protons and neutrons. Then electrons and the nucleus are held together by electrostatic force of attraction. If any charged particle is there, means every time attraction takes place between positive and negative. So this electrons and the nucleus, in nucleus protons and neutrons are there. So neutrons are not going to take part in this attraction because they are electrically neutral. So that is why electrons and protons are held together by electrostatic force of attraction. Electrical charges of opposite sign attract each other. These things you know. Then the effective size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the size of atom. So you can see that nucleus lies in the middle of the atom. So that is why its size is very small. Thus, nucleus consists of protons and neutrons. I told you that nucleus consists of protons and neutrons, and electrons revolve around it. Electrons are present in the extranuclear part of the atom. Okay. So Rutherford found here only in this experiment he discovered neutron. So till 1920 an atom was considered to consist of only electrons and protons. In 1920 Rutherford found that except hydrogen atom, the masses of other atoms were much higher than those expected on the basis of protons only. Thus Rutherford predicted the presence of another kind of particle in the atom. Further, he predicted that this new particle should be electrically neutral and have mass equal to that of proton. So like that, he discovered neutrons. Okay. Mass of neutron you can see in your book, and charge also. So go through it. Now another scientist, Niels Bohr, gave atomic structure, a description of atomic structure. So Bohr's model or of an atom, we are going to learn that how he gave postulates. See, he told that in an atom the electrons revolve around the nucleus in certain definite circular paths, and he called that path orbits or shells. Now you can see here there are 4 shells, that is K, L, M and N. Okay. Each shell or orbit corresponds to a definite energy. Means all the following cells, that means the energy levels, as the K shell having different energy than L, then M and N. So all the 4 shells having different energy. So the orbits are characterized by an integer n. N can have values 1, 2, 3, 4. The integer n is equal to 1, 2, 3 is called the quantum number of the respective orbit. So this is the quantum number. The orbits are numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see here, starting from the nucleus side. So every time wherever you will start, you start the shell which is near the nucleus. Thus the orbit for which n is equal to 1 is nearest to the nucleus, right? The orbits corresponding to n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 etc. are also designated as K, L, M, N etc. shells, as you can see here. So when the electron is in the lower energy level, it is said to be in the ground state. Lower energy level shell is which one? K shell, having lower energy. If you supply energy to any atom, then it will excite electron. It will go in the higher shell. Means it will go to L, M and N shell. The amount of energy if you will supply to any atom. So whenever the electron present in the K shell, that means electrons is in the ground state. Now according to Bohr's atomic model, he mentioned that the electrons revolve around the nucleus in certain orbits. Means everywhere electrons not revolve around. No, it revolves around in a certain path like K shell. After some distance there is L shell. So between this K and L shell, electrons will not revolve around. So in some certain orbits, electrons every time revolve around. These electrons are distributed in various orbits according to a scheme proposed by Bohr and Bury. So you can see here what they mentioned. The maximum number of electrons which can be accommodated in a given orbit is given by the formula 2n square, where n is the quantum number of the orbit. Okay. So this is the formula. If I'll ask you that how many electrons can be accommodated by K shell, then apply the formula 2n square. What is the value of n of K shell? 1. So put 2 into 1 square. So 2. So 2 electrons can be accommodated in K shell. Okay. Like that you can find out that how many electrons, how many maximum number of electrons can be accommodated in L shell. So like that only. Put the value of n in formula 2n square and you get the value. And so on. Okay. Now the outermost orbit can have at the most 8 electrons. And the next inner to the outermost can have at the most 18 electrons. So 8 electrons in 18 electrons. Then see, if you are filling electron, then first you fill completely. First you have to fill up an orbit completely before starting the next higher orbit. It is always necessary to fill up an orbit completely before starting the next higher orbit. Like as you can see here in the electronic configuration of helium, 2 electrons are there. So sorry, 2 atomic number is here. So how you will fill electron? What is the electronic configuration of helium? Only 2, because K shell having capacity to hold 2 electrons in it. Now lithium having atomic number 3. So how you will write the electronic configuration? So first shell can accommodate 2 electrons. So 2, then the next electron, that is 1 electron, 2 filled, then 1 electron left. So it will go in the next orbit, that is L. Like that only you can see here. So L orbit having capacity to hold 8 electrons. So in neon you can see 2, 8, right? So afterwards in sodium 8 electrons filled, right? So 1 electrons left, so it will go in the next shell. So like that you will write the electronic configuration of shell. Complete this in your copy also. So according to the Bohr-Bury scheme, the shell corresponding to n is equal to 1 K shell will have 2 electrons, and the shell corresponding to n is equal to 2 L shell will have 1 electron. So electronic configuration of lithium is 2, 1. So I hope you understood this. Now you see here that electronic configuration of some elements. How you can make this Bohr's type model, you see. See, hydrogen having only one electron. Then helium, 2 electron in the outermost shell. Only K shell is there, only one shell. Then lithium, 2 shell, 2 comma 1. Remember, K and L shell. So 2 in K and 1 in L shell. 1 electron in L shell. So like that only it shows the distribution of electrons. Okay, so revise the chapter. Thank you.